I've been on Vancouver Island for months, but up till now I've mainly shown you the island from the land, a boat, or underwater. Well, today I'm taking to the air for a totally different perspective. From the air I can see this island for what it really is. A massive wilderness.
Now looking at this coast to an untrained eye, you'd think it was perfect, pristine.
But if you squint, you can see signs of humanity dotted along the coastline. In fact, down there, that's the boat of the wildlife guide who introduced me to Vancouver Island and got me hooked on this place. This is a rainforest, but it's not a tropical rainforest that you might be thinking of. It's a temperate one, which basically means it's cooler. But it still gets an epic amount of rainfall. The rainforest provides great habitat for all the wildlife here, but the more critical driver of this ecosystem is right below me.
Right now we're over the deep ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and out straight ahead of us, the next bit of land is Russia and Japan. It is a huge, huge ocean.
Now, usually the biomass produced in oceans slowly sinks down into the depths, but once again, this coast is far from the usual. In a process called upwelling, the open ocean nutrients is pushed back up to the surface, right along this coast, filled with a network of sea inlets.
And it's in these inlets that the tides just rip through. They pull in nutrients from the ocean into these inlets inland.
These bays and estuaries are just packed full of life. Even huge 40-ton animals. Humpback whales are so large, you might think they belong in the open ocean. But here they can thrive because of the small fish that have come inland to feed. But I've gotten to film much more than just humpbacks.
Dotted along this coast are these rocky outcrops, and on some of these rocky outcrops there are steller sea lions, huge animals which haul out onto the rocks and rest between fishing bouts.
I swam with these huge sea lions that need to eat more than 6% of their body weight every single day. And if that doesn't convince you of how rich these waters are, they aren't even the top marine mammal here. In these same waters, there are orca that specialize in killing sea lions. It's crazy to think that so many massive marine predators can be so close to the shore. But it's not just the marine mammals that depend on these rich ocean waters. There's a huge diversity of feathered animals that make their living here. Including America's national bird, the bald eagle. But coastal birds make sense. Perhaps a bigger stretch of the imagination is the black bear. This seafood feast is part of the reason why this island has one of the highest densities of black bears on the planet. The link between the Pacific and the coast really comes alive in the autumn, when one of the largest migrations in the world happens.
The salmon that spend their adult lives, most of their adult lives in the open ocean, they migrate inland and they head up to the tops of all the inlets where there's rivers. And as they go up those rivers, that's where they're spawning, they're reproducing.
But when they get inland, there's a whole welcoming party waiting for them. This is one of the only instances in the world where marine nutrients comes into a land system. Even though I've separated my adventures into episodes about individual animals, this doesn't do the ecosystem justice. Everything is part of a bigger picture. But there is one part of the picture that I'm still missing, the apex predator of this food web, and that's why my key goal,
my creme de la creme, my holy grail is to find the coastal wolf, one of the most elusive animals found here.
They're at the top of the food chain, and so far all they've done is outsmart me.
They're just an incredible, incredible species that have adapted their lives from a traditional terrestrial living to take advantage of the seafood feast that is found on these beaches.
They're the closest you can get to being a marine mammal without actually living in the water. And I'm gonna give it everything I've got to find one.
And so now we're just coming into what is my base, Tofino. But this seems like a pretty fitting entrance for an amazing place. Thanks, Sean, that is so cool.
My pleasure, absolutely.
It's from here that I'll be setting off in my dinghy in search of coastal wolves. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. That was pretty bonkers to film. This is actually an episode in a big series, so if you'd like to see the rest of the series, click on the playlist just here, and I will see you next week for another bonkers wildlife encounter.